Julius Caesar. The name echoes through history. Born into a turbulent era of the Roman Republic, Caesar rose to prominence through his military genius and political acumen. His story is one of triumph and tragedy, of ambition and betrayal, of power and its consequences. Caesar's life was a tapestry woven from threads of brilliance and brutality. His military campaigns expanded the Roman Republic to unprecedented heights, bringing Gaul under Roman control. Yet, his rise to power was not without its costs. His assassination on the Ides of March 44 BC marked a turning point in Roman history. Gaius Julius Caesar was born in Rome in 100 BC into a patrician family, the Julii. Despite their noble lineage, the Julii lived modestly in Rome's Subura district. This early exposure to the realities of Roman life would shape Caesar's worldview and fuel his ambition. From a young age, Caesar received a traditional Roman education, excelling in rhetoric, literature, and oratory. His aunt Julia, wife of the powerful general Gaius Marius, played a significant role in his upbringing. Caesar's early life coincided with a period of great turmoil and upheaval in the Roman Republic. These formative experiences would leave an indelible mark on Caesar's psyche. As Caesar came of age, his family's political connections opened doors for him. At 17, he was appointed Flamen Dialis, a prestigious priesthood dedicated to Jupiter. However, Caesar's burgeoning political career was soon interrupted by the outbreak of the Social War in 91 BC. Caesar, caught in the crossfire of this power struggle, was stripped of his priesthood and his inheritance by Sulla. Facing persecution, Caesar fled Rome, seeking refuge in the east and proving himself a capable soldier and strategist. With Sulla's death in 78 BC, Caesar returned to Rome. Undeterred by the challenges, Caesar embarked on a political career, using his charisma and intelligence to navigate Roman politics. He held a series of important positions, including quaestor, aedile, and praetor. Caesar's ambition and growing popularity aroused the suspicion of the Roman elite. The Optimates sought to thwart his ambitions at every turn. Despite their opposition, Caesar remained undeterred, forging connections with influential figures from all walks of Roman society. In 60 BC, Caesar formed a secret pact with Marcus Licinius Crassus and Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus. This informal alliance, known as the First Triumvirate, aimed to circumvent the power of the Senate. Caesar was elected consul in 59 BC, the highest office in the Roman Republic. During his consulship, he pushed through a series of laws that benefited the people. These reforms further alienated the Optimates, setting the stage for a showdown. With his term as consul ending, Caesar secured the governorship of Gaul. From 58 to 50 BC, Caesar waged a series of brilliant and brutal campaigns against the Gallic tribes. His legions marched from victory to victory, subjugating the Gauls and extending Roman rule to the Rhine River. Caesar's Gallic War, documented in his own meticulous account, became a literary sensation in Rome. Caesar, the conquering hero, returned to Rome laden with the spoils of war. However, his growing power and popularity made him a target for the Optimates and his former ally, Pompey. Caesar's campaigns in Gaul were a defining chapter in his life. For nearly a decade, he waged wars against the fiercely independent Gallic tribes. Caesar's legions, hardened by years of training, proved more than a match for the Gallic warriors. His tactics were a blend of aggression and cunning, exploiting rivalries among the Gallic tribes. The Gallic Wars were brutal, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Gauls. Amidst the carnage, Caesar also demonstrated a capacity for diplomacy and administration. While Caesar was conquering Gaul, the political situation in Rome deteriorated. The First Triumvirate crumbled, leaving Caesar and Pompey as rivals for supreme power. Ordered to disband his legions and return to Rome, Caesar faced a stark choice. On January 10, 49 BC, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, declaring war on the Senate. With those words, he plunged Rome into a bloody civil war. The Roman Civil War raged across the Mediterranean. The decisive battle took place on August 9, 48 BC, at Pharsalus. Despite being outnumbered, Caesar's veterans outmaneuvered and outfought Pompey's legions. The battle raged for hours, but by day's end, Caesar emerged victorious. Pompey, his army shattered, fled the field, his dreams of power dashed. The Battle of Pharsalus marked a turning point in the civil war. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he was treacherously murdered. Caesar, arriving in Alexandria, sided with Cleopatra in her power struggle. After securing Cleopatra's position, Caesar turned his attention to mopping up the remnants of Pompeian resistance. The final battle of the Civil War took place at Munda, cementing Caesar's position as the undisputed master of Rome. With the Civil War won, Caesar returned to Rome as a merciful victor. He understood that true victory lay in healing the wounds of war and uniting a divided Rome. Caesar implemented a series of reforms aimed at centralizing power and improving governance. He expanded the Senate, adding loyal followers from the provinces and the equestrian class. Caesar also addressed the economic woes of the Roman people, implementing debt relief measures and redistributing land. He reformed the calendar, introducing the Julian calendar, which remains in use to this day. Caesar's reforms, though far-reaching, were not without their critics. His opponents, many of whom had once been his allies, accused him of undermining the Republic, of aspiring to become a king, a title anathema to Roman sensibilities. They saw his reforms as a smokescreen for his own ambition, a way of consolidating his power and silencing dissent. Indeed, Caesar's actions, his accumulation of power and titles, did little to assuage the fears of his enemies. He was appointed dictator for life, a position that, though intended to be temporary, smacked of monarchy. He was granted the right to wear a triumphal robe and a laurel wreath, symbols of royalty, in public. Yet it is important to note that Caesar never sought to dismantle the Republic entirely. He maintained the traditional offices of state, albeit with himself at the helm. He continued to consult the Senate, though its power was greatly diminished. His reforms, while undoubtedly self-serving in part, were also motivated by a genuine desire to improve the lives of the Roman people and to secure the stability of the empire. In the end, Caesar's reforms proved to be his most enduring legacy. They laid the foundation for the Pax Romana, the 2 centuries of peace and prosperity that followed the tumultuous years of the late Republic. His vision of a centralized and efficient Roman state, though achieved through ruthless means, paved the way for the Roman Empire, a superpower that would dominate the Mediterranean world for centuries. Caesar's triumphal return to Rome as undisputed master of the Roman world did not usher in an era of universal peace and harmony. While many Romans welcomed his reforms and the stability he brought, others viewed him with suspicion and growing fear. His accumulation of power, his disregard for traditional norms, and his thinly veiled ambition to rule as king in all but name alienated many in the Senate, the very heart of Roman power. Whispers of conspiracy began to circulate through the halls of power. Senators, once Caesar's friends and allies, now met in secret, their words laced with bitterness and resentment. They spoke of Caesar's tyranny, his disregard for the Republic, his insatiable thirst for power. They feared he would dismantle the very foundations of Roman government, transforming their proud republic into a hated monarchy. Among the conspirators were men of impeccable pedigree and reputation, men who had fought alongside Caesar in Gaul, men who had benefited from his patronage. There was Gaius Cassius Longinus, a skilled general who had once served under Caesar, but now seethed with envy and resentment. There was Marcus Junius Brutus, a young senator of impeccable lineage, a man Caesar had loved and trusted, but whose loyalty to the Republic outweighed his personal feelings. The conspirators, united by their fear and loathing of Caesar's ambition, plotted his assassination. They believed that by removing Caesar from power, they could restore the Republic to its former glory, unaware that they were setting in motion a chain of events that would lead to the very opposite. The Ides of March, March 15th on the Roman calendar, dawned like any other day in Rome. Caesar, warned by soothsayers to beware the Ides, dismissed their warnings as the ramblings of superstitious fools. He had important matters to attend to, matters of state that demanded his attention. The Senate was to convene that day, and Caesar, despite his growing paranoia, intended to be present. He had received assurances from Brutus, his close friend and confidant, that no harm would befall him. Brutus, torn between his loyalty to Caesar and his commitment to the Republic, had ultimately chosen his side, his conscience seared by the thought of betraying his friend, but convinced that it was a necessary evil. As Caesar entered the Senate chamber, surrounded by his entourage, he was met with a flurry of petitions from senators, their pleas masking their true intentions. Then, as Caesar paused to read a petition presented by the senator Julius Caesar, Casca, one of the conspirators, lunged, his dagger finding its mark in Caesar's neck. "Ista quid envis est!" "Why, this is violence!" Caesar cried out. Startled, but not yet defeated, Caesar attempted to defend himself, but he was quickly surrounded by a throng of senators, their togas concealing daggers sharpened for this moment. Stabbed repeatedly, betrayed by the very men he had considered his friends, Caesar collapsed at the foot of a statue of Pompey, his blood staining the marble floor a crimson red. Julius Caesar's assassination on the Ides of March sent shockwaves through Rome and beyond. The conspirators, believing they had acted to save the Republic, had instead plunged it into a new era of civil war and chaos. The Roman people, upon hearing of Caesar's murder, were gripped by grief and outrage. They had lost their leader, their champion, the man who had brought order and prosperity to a troubled world. But Caesar's legacy, like the man himself, proved impossible to erase. His name became synonymous with power, his image emblazoned on coins and statues throughout the Roman world. The title Caesar itself became a byword for emperor, adopted by his successors and passed down through the centuries, a testament to his enduring influence. Caesar's military genius transformed the map of Europe, his conquests laying the foundation for the Roman Empire. His political reforms, though often ruthless, addressed deep-seated problems in Roman society and paved the way for the Pax Romana, a golden age of peace and prosperity. His writings, particularly his accounts of the Gallic Wars, became classics of Latin literature, studied by generations of scholars and statesmen. Even today, centuries after his death, Caesar's life and legacy continue to fascinate and inspire us. His story is a reminder of the allure and the dangers of power, of the enduring appeal of ambition, and of the indelible mark that a single individual can leave on the course of history. Julius Caesar, the soldier, the statesman, the dictator, remains a figure of endless fascination, his shadow stretching across the millennia, a reminder that the past is never truly past, and that the echoes of great men and their deeds continue to resonate long after they are gone.